And every May and June, when the snow on the Tibetan plateau is not completely melted, thousands of migrant workers from all directions will flood into Gulo, Tibet, in Qinghai province. The average elevation of the district is about 4,000 meters. There is scarcely any factories across the district, so what drives so many migrant workers to the district? It is for the harvesting of a little dead worm fungus called Dongchonghacho. Dongchonghacho is scientifically known as Orpheocorceps sinensis and known to the world as Tibetan gold, caterpillar fungus, golden worm, Tibetan mushroom, or Yartsa gunbu, in Tibetan translating as winter worm, summer grass, even though it is not technically either a grass nor a worm. So what exactly is this? Here's Grandma Wan, an average Chinese lady. She says, it is a worm deep under the dirt and is there for the winter, and then it grows up and above the surface, and that is dongchongchou. And that is why it's valued and seen as good. It's really hard to find. In the book, Ben Chao Chong Sing, it is described to be a silkworm-looking creature that turns into a grass in the summer and it will turn back into a worm during the winter. Research nowadays indicates that Dongchonghacho is a fungus that parasites the larva of ghost moths and produces a fruiting body that is to many herbalists in Asia as an herbal remedy. The hand-collected fungus-caterpillar combination is highly prized by practitioners of Tibetan, Chinese, and traditional folk medicines. Patients would usually follow the traditional ways of preparing dongtonghacho by brewing the fungal infected worm in tea or chew it raw. Dongtonghacho has been used for at least 2,000 years in the Tibetan and Chinese traditional medicines. The fungus originated in Tibet and Nepal and was first documented in the late 1400s by a Tibetan doctor. And then it was first mentioned in Ben Chao Beiyao in 1694. Even though it was a very old remedy, the Western world was largely unaware of Dongchonghacho before the year of 1993. In case you're still confused of how Dongchonghacho is even grown, just stay tuned. So you're probably wondering, what is this fungus worm thing that we're even talking about? But this is how it works. The spores of a parasitic fungus called Orpheocorceps sinensis infect and consume the larvae of ghost moths that are hibernating in the alpine meadows. Usually the larva is more vulnerable after shedding their skin during late summer, and the fungus germinates in the living larva, kills it and mummifies it, leaving the exoskeleton intact. As spring comes along, the fungus blooms in the form of a brown stalk, and that erupts from the caterpillar's head and emerges from the soil to be harvested. So why do people want to eat this fungus worm? What does it do to your body? It was once said that it saved the life of the only female empress named Wu Xigtan in the Tang dynasty. In her later years, she was weak and constantly ill, particularly coughing. The prescription under the instruction of the imperial physician was hardly effective. Master Kang, a chef in the imperial kitchen, cooked soup with an old duck and tongchonghacho, serving 2 cups a day to the empress. A little over 1 month, she looked better and she didn't cough anymore. According to the traditional Chinese medicine book, Ben Chao Gang Mu Shi Yi, Dongchonghacho has many positive outcomes within the body, from treating fatigue to cancer. It is believed that it is the cure to many different diseases and problems such as kidney and lung problems, respiratory disease, hyper and hypoglycemia, asthma, heart and liver diseases. It is also known to stimulate the immune system, help with treatments of fatigue, night sweating, and even cancer. Many men take it to help with erectile dysfunction because of Dongchonghacho acts as an aphrodisiac, also known as a natural Viagra. Pretty much Dongchonghacho is known to be able to treat many problems within the body, and the list can get longer and longer. So you're probably wondering, so does this even work? Let's see what Grandma Wan has to say.
So, does it work?
It's so-so. I didn't really notice a difference. Well, there you got it. She doesn't think it quite works, but there has been recent research on dongchonghacho and the results seem to differ though. It has shown that within animal testing, there is an increase in the rat's physical endurance through the increase of ATP production. Also, in other testings, it has protected the bone marrow and digestive systems of mice from whole irradiation and may have an antidepressant effect. Dongchonghacho has also been found that it can stop inflammation or swelling at the genetic cellular level, which could possibly lead to new drugs for cancer, diabetes, asthma, arthritis, and cardiovascular disease.
So, you are probably thinking, wow, this seems like it is going to be expensive. Well, you're right. Since dongchong xiacao is in such high demand, they can be priced at more than twice their weight in gold. The price was never that high in the past. The price have increased continuously, especially since the late 1990s. In the 1970s, a pound of worms cost about $1 or $2, and in the 90s, it was still less than $100. But now, it can cost up to 50,000 per pound, what may seem like a modern-day gold rush. These creatures have changed the rural economic of Tibet. Many workers and farmers have gotten rich overnight through the harvesting of dongchong xiacao. So, why do people go crazy for this? And why do people believe its magical functions? We think there are 3 reasons. First, Chinese people obsess with rare and expensive things. Third, their blind faith for ancestors. Last but not the least, dongchong xiacao thoroughly fits the yin-yang theory which Chinese people firmly believe in. Well, dongchong xiacao costs more than your average car in America, and it seems quite rare. Is that why people go crazy for it? Yes, that is correct. Within Chinese culture, majority of people are quite obsessed with rare and expensive objects that help with your health and longevity. One example, of course, is dongchong xiacao. Others include jade, ginseng, bird nest, also known as bird saliva, pillow's antler, also known as deer antlers. People have many beliefs on each and every one of these things. People believe that jade offers protection, ginseng reinforces your qi in your body, bird nests help with anti-aging, and deer antlers help with weakness. Dongchong xiacao grows in very specific areas within the world. They normally live about 6 inches underground in the fertile alpine meadows of the Tibet Plateau, which consists of Tibet, Qinghai, western Sichuan, southern western Gansu, and northward Yunnan, and the Himalayas, which contains the countries of India, Nepal, and Bhutan. All of these places are at an altitude between 3,000 and 5,000 meters, which is about 9,800 to 16,000 feet. Migrant workers and families work 11 hours a day from early May to late June to crawl along the mountain slope in the hope of finding the stalks of dongchong xiacao. But even putting in hours of hard work, there is a huge possibility that they may not even find any. Overharvesting and overexploitation have led to classify dongchong xiacao as an endangered species in China. There have been attempts at farming and artificially growing the fungus, but many have failed. The second reason why Chinese people are obsessed with dongchong xiacao is said to be their blind faith in their ancestors. As the research in 2010 shows, only 10% of the population of 1.35 billion people in China believe in a certain religion, but the rest, that 90% of 1.35 billion do not have a religion, but they all believe that their ancestors will bless them. Many people burn incense and jewels papers, which is fake money, to receive blessing from their ancestors. In general, people in China have a higher respect for their elderlies and believe that when they grow old, they grow wiser as well. As dongchong xiacao has been mentioned in many traditional medicine books, which are considered as the wisdom that has been passed down from the ancestors. Therefore, Chinese people have a strong faith and trust in the medical books that are passed down, stating that 冬虫夏草 can cure and help with many diseases. And this leads to our third reason of the obsession with 冬虫夏草 in China, the yin-yang theory. In the medical book 本草纲目拾遗, the doctor said that, in translation, the truth of changing in life must have both yin and yang. Yin symbolizes calmness and yang symbolizes a movement. The element of yin and yang completely contrasts with each other, but they are also the roots within each other, which ultimately creates a perfect balance. 冬虫夏草 in Chinese medicine is regarded as having excellent balance of yin and yang by being both animal and plant. Yin refers to the plant or summer grass in this context, that yin brings in cold to balance out summer heat, while yang refers to the animal or winter worm, and it brings in warmth to equal out the winter cold. In traditional Chinese medicine, yin draws in cold and is fatal for the woman's health in terms of infertility, and yang brings in heat that could possibly overheat the body and cause the side effects of sweating too much or internal bleeding. But with the balance of yin and yang, 冬虫夏草 is an unique magic herb that has no side effects. Therefore, 冬虫夏草 is an universal herb for both genders and all ages.